Hello, hi everyone. Good morning. And, um, Today we will be covering some of the demo. It's not like a PPT what we have discussed yesterday. So we will be creating one of a sample integration in the Oracle Integration Cloud. And if time permits, we'll try to access that particular integration from the VBCS screen also. And we will be seeing how the VBCS OIC are integrations are interact. If time permits, we will be seeing how VBCS and OIC are interacting with each other. So And coming to the yesterday's quick recap of what we have discussed. Actually, yesterday we have discussed what is the cloud computing and what are the different components of cloud computing, and we have discussed about the PaaS extensions of. In PaaS extensions, we do what is the use of the PaaS extension, and why the PaaS extension is important to any organization. So, and coming later, we have the one of the major component in the PaaS extension is the OIC, Oracle Integration Cloud, where it contains three components like integrations, or VPCS, Visual Builder Cloud Service, and Process Cloud Service. So, and after that, we have seen the particular role of a OIC consultant, what he will do in in any organization, and what are his tasks, or in which task he will be involved. So in so today I will be covering the topics. I have logged in. This is the OIC console. When you log into the OIC console, you will be landing into the this page, home page in the OIC. And if you uh, and today we will create one integration, uh, which is based out of app-driven integration, and the adapter which we use for creating this integration is REST adapter. So before going and creating a connection with the REST adapter, I would like to give a short introduction to the REST adapter and its capabilities before creating an integration. So when hope you can see my screen. When we create an integration, we need a trigger connection to invoke a particular integration, and we have trigger and invoke, which is majorly used in our integrations. So trigger is nothing but you are calling an OIC, means a message is an inbound to the OIC, where invoke is integrations, means integration is calling another connection. So it is a sending message to the third party adapter. So to create to create any integration, the starting point is you need to create one connection which will invoke this integration. So for that, we will be most of the use cases we will be using the REST adapter as a trigger. So when you use a REST adapter as a trigger, so you would like means we have to know what are the capability of the REST adapter, how it will be used. So these are the some of the capabilities of REST adapter. And REST adapter supports multiple methods, HTTP methods like get, put, post, delete, and batch. That will be used whenever you're querying anything. Uh, you want to fetch a order ID details with the order ID. You can you can use the get method. And in the same way, if you want to post something, means you want to create anything, like create an employee, In that case, you do use the post method, and you do use the delete method, which is you want to delete a particular row from a particular table. And we do have a patch methods, and these verbs will be explained in Oracle documentations if you want to use which method for particular operation. And these are the all the methods supported in the REST adapter. And REST adapter, you have to specify the relative resource UI. So like the endpoint URL, we will call it as, you can specify the endpoint URL with this REST adapter. And you can use it for multiple operations also. Like one REST adapter connection can be used for uh, get operation, invoke operation, get operation, create operation, delete operation. So one REST connection can be used uh, as a different verbs. We will call it in the REST adapter. I will show you where you can configure it. But one REST adapter connection can perform 11 operations with the same connection details. So that is the use of the REST adapter. And APIs can be protected, whatever the with connections which we, whatever the integrations which we will create, that will be exposed finally as an API. And that API will be protected with basic authentication or OAuth. Basic authentication is nothing but username and password we will give, and OAuth is a client ID and client secret, which is mostly used in the project. But as part of the training, we will be using the basic authentication. And REST adapters, in REST adapter will be create a template and the query parameters. When you are creating a connection with the REST adapter, you can specify, okay, this endpoint URL is requesting one parameter. It contains one parameter, and you can specify as part of the URL, means that is called template parameter, or you can add the parameter as a query parameters. So this is also we will see in the one of when I create an integration, we will see. And request and the response can be configured. If you want, you can specify whether you want a request, means whatever the request you want to pass, and the response. If you want the response to be returned by the integration, we do have different style, means the kind of integration like asynchronous and the synchronous. Synchronous will accept, will send the request and will be waiting for the response to come, and then it will move to the next step. So that is called synchronous. And asynchronous is nothing but it will fire and forward, means it will send the request, and it will not wait for the response. It will be doing the other activities. So those are called asynchronous and synchronous integration style. Uh, and while you're configuring the request and response, right, you will have an option to add inline JSON request and response, which is a very useful thing. We will be seeing that instead of attaching a particular schema, you can directly write a JSON code in the sample inline, and which is useful for us. So that is also supported in the REST adapter. It supports attachment in the request and response. If you don't have any payload and anything, attachments can be also be sent as part of the this REST adapters. And attachment of size 1 GB will be supported. Applicant. If any particular if you are using any REST service, you have a REST service, and you don't have a specific application adapter like uh, Oracle Fusion have its own uh, cloud adapter. If any third-party applications, don't have a pre-built adapter available in the in integrations. So what we will do is we will use the REST adapter, and we will try to consume the third-party uh, web services using the REST adapter. So if some web some application adapters are not available, means you can use the capabilities of REST adapter to connect to the particular third-party application. That is the all the use of the REST adapter, and we will be seeing the in the demo once we'll come to the creating the integration. And we have seen the advantages of this one, and there are some limitations. Ensure that means if you are in a calling your request, you are sending an incoming messages from the REST, means if you call some object of a third party, and the incoming message of that particular object in the response should not exceed that 50 MB for JSON and XMLs. So response should not exceed 50 MB. And attachment limitations, as I said, 1 GB, up to 1 GB of attachment uh, can be processed with the REST adapter. And if you want to specify the response payload format in JSON files in the inline or any schema attachment, that file size should be 100 KB. So I will show where we will give this one. So these are the limitations of the REST adapter, and we have to, while we are working on this, we have to keep in mind that if something fails, there can be an issue with large size of response we are getting from the third party application. So I would like to move to the integration. So today we will be creating a basic integration, and I will show you uh, how can we call that integration, deploy it in that integration, and versioning of that particular integration. So to create any integration, we are into the landing page or home page of this one. To create, you have to go to the, as I said yesterday, we have all these options in the integration console. So home is for this. We are saying all this. It's my tags, which will be used in processes. Uh, if any process is assigned to you, you can see in my particular task. Processes, which is used for building process applications, and integration is what we are doing now, creating a new integration. Click on the integration, and in integration tab, we do have integrations, connections, lookups, packages, and so connections. First, we need to create a connection, as I said, and that too, we are going to create a connection with a REST map. So we, and when you click on the connections, you can see the existing REST connection and other connections which are created in this particular instance. So you can either utilize one of the REST connection, or you can create new connection. So we will create a new connection. So while creating a connection, when you search for this, you can see all the available connectors in the OIC. These are called the pre-built application adapters, which can be used based on your means which to which application you are connecting. You can search. So that is what I'm saying. If any particular application adapter you cannot find here, you can make use of the REST adapter. So select the REST adapter. When you select a REST adapter, and it is asking what it is called, what do you want to call this REST adapter, and I will give.
Shridi, can you explain one more time, please? So basically, here you're trying to create a connection,
Yes, yes. So,
and then
I would like to create an integration. To
okay,
invoke a particular integration, first step is to you need to connect. You need a connectors. So
connectors.
for yeah, to create a means as you need a connectors, you can utilize if you see if you have anything existing here, you can utilize. These are already pre-built connections. Okay, someone are creating these connections while using their integrations. So you can see this particular connection is not used in any integration. So you can see this particular REST 101 is used in 12 integration. Okay, these are the integrations. So to create means any integration, you need a first invoke trigger connection. So for that, I'm creating a connection here. So to do that, go
Yeah,
to
this is where
the
I have a question. Though. When you're showing all the applications, right? What are those? I mean, are
these are
they
the
like are
application adapters. Like if you want to connect to ERP Fusion. Okay.
okay? That's what my question.
Yeah.
So basically,
Yeah.
those applications are the ones you are trying to connect to those applications. That's what it means.
Yeah. If you want to try to create connect ERP cloud. Okay, you can
Right.
utilize this. You can
ERP cloud
utilize
type.
this
Okay. Got it.
application
Got it.
adapter. If you
Got it.
don't have, if we don't, means in some cases we don't have a pre-built adapter like this. Actually, in
Gotcha.
those cases, mostly we do go with for example, a client is there. He is using some third party tool, and it doesn't have any application adapter in our pre-built application adapter available in our connections. So what we'll do is we will ask them to give you a REST service. So we will connect your REST service, REST web service with the using the REST connect adapters. So,
Right. Thank you. Sorry for asking the basic questions. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, no,
Thanks.
no. You can ask anytime. So we will be clearing all your doubts. So this is a connection. So right now we are at creating a new connection, and just you. I'm creating, giving a name of the connection, and we can means based on the ERP connection. If you are connecting, give a meaningful name. As this is a demo, so I'm giving it. I can recognize what are the connections I'm creating. So I have given a screen. So identifier is automatically entered. If you type this one, identifier will be auto populated, and if you need on this one. And if you want to create a trigger for this connection, and as I told, trigger is like we are trying to invoke, we are invoking the OIC integration. So using the REST adapter. And if you are invoke means OIC's integration is calling another adapter. Means integration is sending a message to the another adapter to invoke it. That is called invoke. And if OIC is only accepting a message from the REST adapter means it is called a trigger to the OIC. So these are the two roles. And if you want to use a particular connection as only trigger, you can make it as a trigger. And if you want to use it as an invoke, you can mark it as an invoke. And trigger and invoke, if you want to configure this particular connection as a trigger purpose and the invoke purpose, you can use a trigger and invoke. And if you have any description, means what this connection is trying to do, you can give any meaningful description like we are invoking, triggering. Then when you click on the create, it will open the one. So if you recognize, if you are using it as a trigger, no need to specify basic authentication or URLs, means and username and password. So by default, it will come as OAuth. As I told, there are two types of authentication will happen. One is basic authentication and OAuth. By default, it is comes as a basic authentication, and you can see there is no need to give username and password here. And if you create it as invoke, then it is a requirement to give username and password. So a security policy, nothing I'm giving. And if you see the REST connection is 100%, and if you test it, this confirmation you need to get whenever you are creating any connection. If something fails, username or something, other details fails, if you test it, this you will not get any confirmation, right? This is tested successfully, so you can use it. Oh, now your connection is configured. Okay. If
Sir,
you yeah, tell me.
sir, we haven't used any user ID password. So how the system is taking and authenticating? Can you please help me to understand once again?
Here, when you are using it as a trigger point, okay, we
Okay.
have a we will call this one from particular uh, REST API. If you REST Postman, there you will give the basic authentication or anything, okay, to call this one. When you for this REST connection, when you're giving it as a trigger, there is no need to give the credentials here. Okay, I will show
So,
you.
okay, the credential will be required when we are using this in the post.
Postman, if you're trying to call this one in Postman, you will give. But in the
Okay.
when you create a same connection with as a trigger, this I have created as a trigger. Okay, when you create it as an invoke, right? Invoke service. When
Mhm.
you configure this one as an invoke, then you will be it will be asking you to provide the credentials.
So trigger and invoke is something like inbound, outbound. Can we say?
Yeah, you can call it. Means trigger is something inbound to the OIC you can call, and outbound is invoke. OIC will call other service is called an outbound. Okay. When OIC is calling some other service, it requires a username and password of a particular adapter connection. So that is where it requires the username and password. Now, as part of a trigger, you have created this connection as a trigger, and when you call this connection from any third party, now you are calling this from a third party URL like Postman and other things. So at that time, what you will give is when you're calling at the Postman, you will give the authorizations like username and password. I will explain you that one also, where you will pass
Okay, sir.
the.
Okay.
Okay. Now the connection has been created. This is a basic connection. Now I'm going to my integration. So you need to check whether it is configured or not. A blue tick, you can see the connection is configured, and you can view the connection at any time. Like view, if you want to edit the connection, you can edit, and if you want to clone, means create a same connection of this one, you can do. And refresh metadata, if something you have created this connection and the URL and in the particular URL something has been changed, you can refresh the metadata also. And there is an option to delete this particular connection. You can do the delete operation also. So these are the operations available. And now coming to the integration. So to create now the connection is set up. Now I'm going to the integration screen. And integrations we do have two types. One is to you can import a particular integration, or you can create a new integration. Import is we do use the import option when we do migration of our code from the one environment to the other environment, we do use this option of import. So now I'm creating a new integration. So we have seen last class, like we have a 6 type of integration styles, and I'm going with the app-driven integration style because it will be whenever we want to call this one, we can call by invoking the REST adapter. So I have selected the app-driven orchestration here, and I would like to give the integration name what it's
Sir, what is that application event or business object? What is the difference basically?
you listen, listen, triggered by. So because the application event, like if you have an event in ERP Fusion, if you create a sales order, it will generate one particular event. So you can subscribe to the particular event, and that event is invoking this integration. Then it is called, it is based on the application event. Okay. Our business object is whatever payload we are sending and trying to invoke this one. So any object. So a trigger means the trigger connection will be based out of your REST adapter which you are calling from a third party, or you can this can be invoked with an business application events like any if a customer got updated, it raises a particular event like for that particular event you can subscribe. So it is an these are those are called like application events. Okay, got my point?
Thank you, sir.
Mm,
First one, the application event. I did not understand the business object.
business of application trigger
Application event, I
means
got it. So, create a sales order, you submit the
business
order.
of business
Mhm.
object is nothing but you're sending a payload request response. Okay, with that with that payload you are invoking this particular integration. We will be using the business object only. I will tell you
Okay.
once. I will. Okay. So business object is nothing but you're trying to invoke this input payload. You can call it as an input payload is a business object. So I will come to this one also. What we will do is we will do with the business object only. So I have created a name, an integration identifier, and versioning. And if you see the versioning here, versioning is at a particular format. It's a 10 character. 01 is dot is also counted. So it is a 10 character, and 01 is a major versioning. If you see this one, major versioning, a minor, and patch actually. So this is a versioning, and I will explain you what is a major versioning, what will happen, and what is the use of a minor versioning. And patch mostly we don't use, but in patch versioning also is there. So this is the versioning of this. Uh, I will be saying telling in detail on this version. So a document you have, if you want to define anything about this integration, you can give the documentation URL. We don't use this one also. Enter any keywords. We don't. It's not mandatory. All these things. So if you have an existing package uh, in our integration, you can select the particular package and place your this integration into that particular package. If you don't have any existing package, I can create a new package on go. Means no need to create a package separately and uh, and this one separately. So if you see any streamy is there. let's create a new package. And one, you can give a small description like this. What is this integration? Description I'm giving the like gender because if some means in the real time you have created a integration and they don't want to go inside this integration and understand what it is doing, so you can give a description here so that any other users can easily understand what you are trying to achieve with this integration. So I'm creating the integration. So these are the steps you will give. Yeah.
It's really one question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when you say package, it's not like a PL/SQL package, right? It's just a package meaning something else, like a
Pa- Package is nothing here in integrations. The package is like a group of integrations. Okay. Package
gotcha.
is only for a group of integrations.
Got it.
Means for a particular application, you are trying to create 10 or 15 integrations and you
Okay.
want to group them into a particular package. And this package is useful when you are trying to export integrations from a particular for a particular application. When you're trying to move these integrations from one instance to another, you don't click each and every 15 integrations and select those integration, export them and import into the third. You can directly go to the particular package and click on the export option. All the underlying 15 integrations will be exported and you can import in the other instance. So that
Got
is
it.
the use of the package.
Similar to the PL/SQL package concept, but it's integrations here, right?
Yeah. PL/SQL package is a group of functions and all these things.
Right. Six integrations here. Okay. I'm
Yes.
just talking about the concept. Okay, fine. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks.
yes. Okay. And now we have our integration page where you need to trigger your it's you can see the start point is a trigger, and for this actually you need to click on the flash. Whatever the connections are available in our instance are available here. And I have created this REST connection demo screen. You can see here and you can select. Once you select this one, and this connection will ask you what you are trying to achieve this one with this generic name, greet use. Okay. So here you can see select to configure multiple resource objects. This is what I'm saying. You can create up to maximum 11 type of operations with the same connection. So currently we are not using this one. Read user. And if I click on the any other description, you can give it here and click on the next. And now, if you the operation what we have doing now is by default it is selected as a default. Okay, this is a default operation. And if you give this one, any endpoint related resource URL, oh, I have said right. You have to define any endpoint resource URL like slash. Okay, and if you want to re so you can give an endpoint like this, and if you want to give a template, parameter template, means in line with the request resource URI, you can give it as a name. Okay. So this resource endpoint URL is expecting a parameter of name. That is what it is saying. Okay. And you can see a difference like if I give a name here, this is auto select. See, these are the parameters. Add and review the parameters of this endpoint. So this is auto selected. If I remove this one, it is asking now if you want to give any parameter, you can add it here, and you can define it as a query parameters. As I said, there are two options. One is a resource parameter, and another one is query parameter. So it's a template parameter is called the resource parameter, and another one is a query. So I have given this type of defining any endpoint URL is called a template parameter. So I have clicked the template parameter, and so name it is a recipe, and this is auto selected. And based on the particular action also, these options will change. If you are doing get operation means we will pass one parameter and fetch the particular thing for us, or you can no need to pass any parameter. If endpoint URL, if you want to fetch all the users, you can use the get operation without passing any parameter. Okay. So if you select, as I said, we have different type of operations: get, put, post, and delete and batch. Okay, these verbs will be used as per means as per the in Oracle documentation. We do have what significance of each operation. Normally, to get any message, we do use get. Put, for any sending messages, we'll put. Normally, post is for any create if a payload which is used to create an employee, we do use the post operation. And delete is a single record operation. So if you see, if you select post means, try some parameter. So that is what it is saying. Post, it will create a request payload for this actually for the post. It is not refreshing. Or this payload is not uh, accessible for us. So for post, it should accessible this one, and input parameters is not required. So this is not refreshing. So these are the different kind of operations. Based on that, you can do different things. So for agreed, giving a template parameter as a name, and if you want configure means you want to receive any response from this, means after you passing the employee username, you want any response from this endpoint, means you can configure the endpoint, or if you don't want to configure, it is up to you. Normally we do configure the payload, means whether this has been successfully created or not, we need to get a response, right? So that is the reason we do configure the payload. And if you have any request headers, you can define here. Request headers normally used in a basic means OAuth connection, where you will be sending the client ID and the client secret as part of a header definition. So if you come to the next one, so here you can see you can template parameters are added actually. Name is a template parameter and of the type string. So this is auto done for us when we have given the endpoint URL as a name here. In brackets, we are passing the parameter. And then this is auto configured. This page nothing to do. Request parameter already we defined. And coming to the next page. So here, if you see, select the response payload format. If you want any response, particular type of response from this integration, means once you created an employee or you have sent an employee message details, user details to the integration, and you are requesting some kind of response like this employee has been successfully created or not created. For that purpose only, you can select a payload format. Means if you have any JSON file, you can give the JSON file here. And if you don't have any JSON file on handy, you can select JSON sample. You can choose the file, or this is what I'm telling. Inline, you can define what kind of response you are expecting from this particular so from this particular integration. And I'm expecting a name. And I'm just passing a name as an input to this. If you have some issue with this JSON format you have given, means you can click on OK. It will throw an error for you. See some validation data. So JSON format is I have given in a wrong format. So I'm giving in the correct format. Okay. Now you can validate your JSON here only. Input. So we are getting the output. We are configuring with the output response. Slices. So this is the configuring the output. So if you click on OK, so the inline JSON is also correct, then only it will take. Otherwise, it will not take any syntax errors. It will not take. Okay. So response I have configured as an inline of a JSON file. So that is what it is explaining. Okay. Coming to the next. So that's it. Endpoint has been created, and endpoint summary you can see here. This is a REST service URI where this read parameter is passing as a name here, and it is done. So if you see this endpoint, means if you're passing any value here, this is returning a response. So that is what you can configure the response here. I'm going to the mapper here. And now in the mapper, this is the, you can see this is the template parameter which we are passing as a request. And this is the response wrapper, which we have given as an inline, like success is the message I want. In this success, whatever message you will pass, it will come. Okay. Now, if you go here, by default, this will be not enabled to pass the parameter. So once you drag and drop this one, it will be creating this value, and you don't want to directly drag this one. We will give some concatenation. Okay. If you want to delete this one, you can select delete that. Now I want to I want to concatenate a particular username given here with some text value. So to concatenate anything, you have a functions here. And if you click on the in the mapper, if you select here, we do have a functions here. String functions, we do have a different functions, advanced Boolean, date functions, integration cloud function. Based on our requirement, these are pre-built functions which can be used. Concatenate is one of the function which is widely used. So concatenate will take two parameters. One is whatever two parameters it has. So, and I would like to pass in one of the parameters. I would like to pass a string. Okay. OIC training. and giving us just space. And I would, whatever the user I'm passing in this URI parameter, that user will be, username should appear here. So welcome to OIC training, Srini or any other person should come as a response to my payload. So I'm saving this one. Once you save this one, you can see this is a, because this is appearing because it's a concatenation of the string. So that is the, if you keep here, whatever concatenating definition you have used, that will appear here on the screen. So now you have done the mapping here. You need to validate this one. Validate. If validation fails, then you need to check your mapping connection. So, oh, this is a connection. So now validate this one, and we are closing the connection. It is ready to use. And if you see this one, there is one particular error. It is nothing but a tracking variable. So if you go and tracking and name, normally whatever the parameters we are passing, you can use it as a tracking variable. And if you are using a sales order, if you can give the sales order ID, and we can give a three tracking variables here. So I'm saving this one, and now if you save this one, so it is showing the integration was saved successfully and it is ready for the activation. Okay, close this one. So if you see it, now integration has been ready and it is configured, but it is not deployed. So to deploy this integration, so you have to click on the activate button. These are like enable tracing, means if you are doing this for any for the first time, you need to get the input and output response payload. So when you do this one, you will enable tick mark these two and you will activate it. If in production environment, we don't use these things because these are already tested and this is moved into the production. So for the testing purpose, we do use the enable tracing and it will consumes a lot of space in the in the OIC environment. That is the reason most of the cases we don't uh, in the production environment we don't use it. So this is a confirmation that this got activated. Now it got activated, and if you see here, you have a metadata URL. See, this is the endpoint URL. So if you give this endpoint URL to any third-party application, and they can invoke this integration. So it has created a one endpoint URL for us. We will be working mostly on this endpoint URL only. So if you come here, and there is an option, no need to go for any third party tools like Postman and other tools. You can test your integration at this place only. If you click on the test, so it is but see, you can see URI parameters. It is by default created a URI parameter for us, and I'm giving the name. Okay. And once you give the name, it appears here, and you can test this one. Say, this is the string which we have given, and this is the uh, parameter which we have passed. You can give any parameter also. So whatever the value we are passing, we are mapping it to the response and we are fetching the response back to it. So, and you can see this has been created. And if you want to see instance ID, you can click directly from here. This will be what, how this has been went and everything is green. So it means that integration has a successful run. And if you go here, you can click on the here only activity stream, means what has been sent and what has been received. You can see the activity stream also. See the message sent. You can see what is the message we have passed. We have passed pre-showed as a relative URI, and if you see the message mapping has been created, what mapping has been created. To OAC issued. This is the mapping. Successfully mapping has been created, and we have received the message. See, reply to the greet user. What is the reply message we got? You can see. This is welcome to issue. So this is how you will debug any issue if somewhere it got failed. You can see it here, and this is how you will debug a particular issue. And we have an option to at each point you can copy this one, download the payload, and you can see in Notepad, or you can copy to the clipboard and you can paste it in any Notepad file. So, and to debug if you are facing any issue, checking here. So like that, we do have any options, and we do use the activities team as a debugging tool here in our OIC integration. So if you come like this, so our REST integration is ready, and I will try to edit this integration. So another way of passing, to edit any integration, you have to deactivate your integration. You are deactivating your integration. And now the edit option will be available for us. Okay, when you click on edit, you can. So if you want to change anything, I don't want to give this as a resource parameter. You want to post the values. Okay, of course. I'm changing the different. I'm using different style of sending a message. Here
Where
I'll
did you,
configure.
I'm sorry, Srini,
Hello.
where did you pass the parameter for the name? You're seeing the name and
Mm.
Kishore, right? This is the where? Okay, this is the place?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here earlier I have created like this. Name is the parameter. Okay.
Name.
It's in the URI only we are passing the parameter.
Okay.
And now I'm showing you a different style. Like if you have want to pass multiple things, so I do use a post method. I don't want to compare. Here, if you select a post, I'm creating an request payload also. Earlier, I didn't create a request payload. I have used only the request parameters. Now I want to create a request payload. If I go to next, so the request parameters is disabled now, and in line, I want to choose JSON. I do pass the value here. If you go here, so I just put the name, okay, input. So my request payload is this one. Okay, copy this payload. Okay. Now when you go to this one, JSON, so response, already we configured our response. So this is the success. Okay. Response payload. So I'm going back. Okay. Now, you need to, because you have changed the name of this one, right? So you need to update your mapper also. Now you have a request wrapper. In request wrapper, input is available for you, and you have to map the input. So this is what I'm doing. Earlier I have directly mapped the name. Now I'm mapping the input. Now validate. Okay, save this one. Fine, it is working. Now validate. No, save. There is one error, like identifier I need to map. If you click on the message, integration error. Primary business identifier for tracking. For tracking this one, you need to define one business identifier. So I'm clicking on the tracker. So normally we do give the input parameters, whatever the parameter we pass in. So the error is also disappeared. Now you save this one, close this integration. It is ready for the deployment again. Okay.
So in the input payload, if you have multiple columns or values, then how we will handle?
In the body, I have given only one value, right? You can give her multiple input, other values, country name, country code, and all this. Those will appear.
Okay. So in the
So-
tracker, it will show all the different rows or columns, and you can choose what you want.
Yes, it's an input payload. How you want to define? I have defined my input payload with only one value. Okay. If you have two values, you can define your input payload in the inline of the JSON, like input and another row. You can define like this. Okay. Another column. You can define like this. I will tell you that. Okay. Currently, we are using a single value. Okay.
Do you choose the definition arbitrary?
Yeah, I have chosen the inline JSON as a definition for this input payload.
Or I just ask if you can choose. You don't have any line to follow. Like you can just give it any number, arbitrary number or name or letter, depending on how you understand the
Input parameter,
input.
you're asking input parameter value, or are you asking
Yes,
about the
I'm
input?
asking about the input parameter value. I just know if you just choose any value and you put it.
I think it'll take it's just taking as a string.
Okay,
See?
okay.
So this is another way. Now we can see it is not a URI parameter. It is we are passing a body
Got it.
as an input payload. So like this is a different style of using the parameter, how we'll pass. And another one is like a query parameter. And we will be seeing the query parameters. And in time permits, tomorrow we will see how we will call this from a VBCS and we will display the output message in the VBCS screen. So that will be a good end-to-end.